Test, test. All right. Howdy, folks. It's Woodturning Wednesday. My name's Dave, and I'm a woodturner. I started turning as therapy for PTSD, found out I had a knack for it, and I fell in love with it. And then I started teaching it, and I fell in love with that. So I started this channel to become a better teacher and a better demonstrator and a better turner. The more I share the things that I've learned with other turners, the more it gets, dumped right back into my own head. So it reinforces it. So for me, it's a win-win. Um, really enjoy wood turning. Anyway, had some great company this weekend. Rudy Lopez came out to demo for our club. He arrived Friday. Hadn't seen him for face to face anyway for 5, 6 years, I think. Anyway, man, it was a great kind of little mini reunion too. Got to help out with beginners classes that he was given for our club, and then take the he gave an advanced class the following day for the more advanced turners who wanted to take advantage of it, and I was one of those. I think Rudy is a really great teacher and a really great guy. So anyway, we got to talking, and he's talking to it's like some of his classes, like in particular, he said the most recent what he did. He had all these blanks cut out, and there was a fairly new turner. I believe it was a young lady, but fairly new turner, and all the older guys gone through and pawed through all and got what they called the best pieces, and left nothing but the gnarly stuff. And so she was kind of a little bit bummed out, but Rudy said, "No, no, no, turn it. You turn it. See what comes out." And so we were talking about that, and it came out to be a really nice, lots of figure. It was just a gnarly piece that turned out really, really nice. And I said, "Yeah, that's usually what I kind of go. I mean, I love working with crotch pieces, but sometimes I prefer going for the gnarly stuff because you really don't know until you break off into the log what you're going to find, but you can get an idea based kind of on experience, I guess, with how the trees grow together and all that groovy stuff." Anyway, so he before he left to go to Kalamazoo, we drove him down about halfway, I guess, today to Kalamazoo to his next gig. He left behind this particular log for me. Uh, Out of all the blanks that we had cut, or they had cut for class, excuse me. So there's this log with all these branches stuck out of it, and I said, "Oh man, wow, cool, yeah, heck yeah, I want to. In fact, I'll turn this tonight." So I got looking at it, and in general, most of this is down one center seam on both sides. So what I did was, because I want that pretty much to kind of be in the center of the piece as much as I can get it, as close as I can get it. There's going to be a lot of really nice figure going down this way in there, and then it's all going to be really wild in here. I'm hoping to preserve as much of this. I have ideas, but I don't know if I can get away with it or not. I may have to I don't know. I may have to do a faceplate kind of thing. But then it'll be really tough to get into the right, or I'll have to do some change. So I don't know. If I use a faceplate, I'm going to have to make more cuts on this to get the faceplate in the right orientation, depending on what part I want to turn down here. So I'm not sure what's happening, but anyway, because it had that center line, I decided, all right, that's going to be the point where I measure from, and so I took a square alongside here and marked perpendicular line there, and then of course did the same on the other side, and then cut to the outside of those red lines. I put another red line here to kind of was thinking about cutting this off, but I'm just going to put it on its balance point, and that'll be good firewood later. Just put it on its balance point and then clean off the bark and see what we see. It is kind of oval too, so it's kind of interesting. We'll see what happens with this dude. I'm looking forward to it. So thanks, Rudy. That was that was really cool. I appreciate it, man. You're definitely going to be missed. We had a hard time releasing you back into the wild, sir. Uh, just want to say, Joe and I felt the same way. It was tough to see you go in such a short time. Anyway, hope to see you again soon, man. All right, so I'm going to start off on the balance point. I may actually need to bring out. That's close enough. I think I might need to bring my point out on this guy. I mean, this is cut fairly straight, but it's green wood, so I don't know how far this dude's going to sink itself in, and I want to have a good indication of where the balance point is. And the more I have this extended out, the further I am from this little cup, or this more or less a cup now with that dude in the center. And I think, yeah, let's bring this one out too. I think this is a good plan. I mean, let's review here. Always good to reassess. I mean, I've already made the cuts, but that's okay. So if I call this the center line, like I'm going to waste this away, this will basically be my cylinder with all this cool stuff. That's the plan. So we'll see how that goes. I don't think that any other way, at least looking at this, because this seam is slightly off this direction, but this seam here on this side captures most of that outgrowth. And it looked like the tree had been doing that for a while. So this is a dead branch. This one is too, so I'm wondering what that's going to look like. I'll probably have some hardwood in there going across the tool. That's still fairly green. In fact, it's starting to split in the center. So let's get this dude on the lathe and find the balance point. I'm still too close. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be heavier on this side. Huh. Well, I was wrong on that. Yeah, most of the mass is actually right here, but I don't know. We don't know what's in there yet. So let's go this side. All right. Just keep moving it up slowly, little bit by little bit. And depending on like how fast it swings, I could go a quarter of an inch or an eighth of an inch or maybe less. It's just kind of like, okay, so that's really quick. So that one went up or down or up too far. So we'll take this one down to its last notch and see what that does. I still feel like it's heavy somewhere. Maybe not. Okay. Well, we'll call that the balance point. See how that goes. Looks like that's going to be okay. And as always, we want to do our best to make sure this is secure in the chuck. And I'll periodically check that because it's green wood. It's gonna compress eventually. And I'm gonna start with my bowl gouge. We're just gonna start taking the bark off of this guy. and see what we have underneath. Let's see, that's going to clear. So that's all clearly going to clear. This is what I need to worry about. Oh, and it's a Reeves drive, so since I don't have the VFD, we got to rotate this dude while I spin the handle, because I'm going to start at the lowest speed. Alright, glasses on. You know what? Let me clean them really fast. Anyway, welcome. Thank you very much for the support. You being here and viewing the program is definitely supporting the channel. I always appreciate subscriptions and follows and all that kind of stuff. And if you do follow, you'll get the notifications when my broadcasts are. Currently, they are Tuesday and Wednesday evenings. I get some sap on this. From 8 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. I guess I should probably figure out, I think it's in -4 GMT. I can't remember exactly. So maybe I should start saying that, because I do notice that I have some viewers from like Madagascar, some in India. I can't remember. It wasn't Pakistan. I'm trying to remember. But like all over the world, man. It's really kind of neat. Okay. I think it's a venue or an outlet or whatever I wouldn't have had normally. I think it's pretty all right. All right, so we're gonna get me some more light here. And you know what? I need to close. We should pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. We can keep the shavings in here. All right. So we'll start her up, see what we got for vibration. Yeah, that ain't bad at all. Let's speed it up a little bit. Actually, before I do that, I am going to want to tighten down my quill lock there, just so it doesn't back out. We'll be cutting some air here, so it's always nice to have a little bit of speed. And all I can see are the ghosts up here, but that's what I'm going after, and it's already spitting sap at me. Mighty green. So the reason you're not hearing a lot of bumpity bump, bang, bang, bang is because I'm at the right cutting height. I got my anchor here is already set on my hip here at the tool rest, and then in some sense my right arm, it's tucked into my body. So that's my anchor. My bevel is pointed in the direction I want it to cut, because that's the direction it really wants to go. With face open about 45 degrees ish. I'm approaching the cutting more or less at 45. I'm really not here because I'm going straight in and back just to knock this stuff off. But eventually it'll wind up being more of a 45. And once I have that, like I'm right now, these are non-bevel supported cuts. So once I have a bevel supported cut, I'm not actually on the bevel. It's just there as a support. I'm more floating it, I guess, would be the way to say it. I'm not really sure. I got to figure out like how to say that it makes kind of sense to people like the first time you say it, because let's run this out and it'll be easier to see once I get this. We have a fairly even surface here. only going as fast as the tool can cut. Almost all the force is going right into the tool rest, not into my body. That's a little bit larger cut than I would probably normally take, but it went all right. And it's just as smooth, moving as fast as the tool can cut. Nice and easy does it. So I'm not getting, there's a little bit of vibration, but it's not much. I'm not adding to it by trying to force the tool into the material. Wow, man, I don't know if you can see this really fantastic figure around these knot holes. All right, so I'm getting really close to being more or less in the round part of the whole thing. I think I'm going to have, we'll see how it works, but I think this probably might wind up to be the top, maybe. Depending on how I feel about my comfort level and my skill set here. Because I really like to go this way, and then that way, and then that way. But I'm not sure that I can do something like that, like on the fly. So, we had other conversations, during class with Rudy and all that, talking about, tool skills and tool control. Where some people will do a cut all the way to the very end and then quickly pull off. And what you get is kind of a divot, like right there, and then an upsweep. And I've been thinking about that. It's kind of like I think it's kind of like the gymnastics thing, right? Your mount and your dismount count for a huge part of the score, and you want your mount into the cut to be as smooth as possible, and your dismount out of the cut to be that smooth also, so you carry it all the way through. And don't pull off fast, don't vary the speed. You're going just as fast as the tool can cut. And it looks like this guy wants to be cut this way. So I'm going to see if that is the case. Up to that point, because this was smoother. Yeah, okay, so mostly wants to go that way. Hey, whatever gives me a better finish off the tool, I'm happy with that. Combination of things. Tool handling skills, sharpness of the tool, your approach to the thing. Getting a lot of water here. Your own personal skill level, the practice that you put in. There's a lot of little pieces of this. It's not just like one magic. There's one magic bullet that will solve your problems or whatever. The biggest deal, the biggest, and maybe it is the biggest secret. I don't know. I don't think there should be any secrets in woodturning, but the biggest secret seems to be that there is no secret. That the whole thing is practice, practice, practice. I mean, you get the proper instruction, you practice the form, and then eventually you work it into whatever your body mechanics are, and you flow with it. That's why I really like taking classes from lots of turners. I wanna learn as much as I can. there's so much ground to cover. It's looking kind of close. I'm going to true this up a bit. Definitely hitting something harder there. Oh, yeah. No, I guess that's not it. I guess maybe it's a bar conclusion. I don't know. Oh, that's a lovely sound. Love that sound. That'll be true enough. Let's go to this side. Might be close enough. Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, that'll do. Looks like I'm gonna need to continually wipe down the lathe through this guy. So maybe in this case, well, you know what? I've got some lanolin I can put down here. Set that aside right there. So that should give me some water protection. Let's get some. Oh, and a little bit of slide. All right. All right, let's see what we got here. So most of the figure is gonna be right in here probably. There should be some right in there too. So I think I'm gonna take this down a little bit more. I'm losing more of this, but this branch came at an angle this way and came out here where my finger's at. So that's going to get pretty much turned away regardless. That will wind up being a shoulder or a foot or something. So that's going to go away. Probably most of this is too. We'll see what happens. I'm probably just going to wind up uncovering this stuff, and maybe this is the main bit that will stay. But hey, let's find out. Ooh, I'm going to have to be aware of that little slippery bit there. Been a while since I've turned something this wet. Even over the weekend, spring wood I was using wasn't this wet. Okay, so got a little bit more of this figure. So I think I'm getting close to the diameter that I'm going to work with. I think this is starting to show up. So I've got probably at least, oh well, if I follow that seam, I've got at least an inch here at the top, and definitely 2 inches down there and further, to expose this figure that's going to be in here. So I'm okay there. Let's see about getting maybe this bark off and see what that leaves us here. A little bit more. It might be all right. Let's see. I mean, there's an eighth of an inch there. So don't know. I think you might be partially be able to see my stance in this computer, but it's more or less an L stance. If you're familiar with, I guess martial arts, they call it L's, or what I remember anyway. They call it an L stance, but basically my right foot in this case, because I'm traveling from left to right, is pointed out to the side, and my left foot is perpendicular to the lathe, so I can get my hips, my whole body in this action of clearing off the surface, cutting a layer off of here, or peeling, I guess would be the right way to put it. Basically, it's a peeling cut, um, and I can use my whole body, so nothing about the tool has to change at all. Once I get my cut set, I can just travel all the way down. So that's what I mean by, a lot of people call it dancing with the lathe, but it's like it is a full sensory experience. I mean, you have to use your whole body, to direct the tool to where you want it, and the more you do that using the larger muscles rather than the smaller ones, You build that muscle memory pretty quickly. So all I got to do is shift over onto my right foot, just move my hips sideways, and that does the whole cutting action. Getting a lot of grain, a really nice figure right there. Oh man, what am I going to do with this guy? Let's see. I really want to see. I think unless I leave that, I don't know. Am I going to leave that? Is that going to be a void that I can play with? See if I can carefully get this stuff up. So I guess the outer part of the bark it was shorter around than this is, so I think I'm gonna have to take it down even a little bit more. But I want to also see just to be sure, man. Like, is this not a good spot to allow a void to appear? If that makes any sense. If I'm doing a hollow form, and this is my finished diameter, then depending on the wall thickness, this somewhere in here could be a void, and it would be a natural edged feature. So before I get rid of it, I want to see if that's even a viable thing with the diameter that I've got now. It's just part of, assessing, reassessing, to, to try to take advantage of the natural features that are in each individual piece of timber. No two are the same. Might have similarities, but even in the same log, you can have just like this piece. It was the pith the tree came out this way, and I remember it was this way. I had to cut it to go, so it was running this way, and the main part of the tree was out here. So this was not heavily figured wood. There's some figure closer to where the branches were that came out, where it started what looked like splitting its growth. Splitting crotchwood, but three different branches. So this could be a really it could be an interesting looking piece if we. I mean, I don't know what's in here. All right, so that looks like, but instead of looks like, let's actually do this. So that would be a little bit over a 1/4 inch deep there, less there, about a 1/4 of an inch there almost. That would be the deepest part. if I make that a shoulder, I don't want to make that the bottom, and then, well, then it'll get turned away anyway. Let's see. I think we might not. Unless I cut a hole in it, I could always do that too. Well, I'll take yet another pass. Okay, now all that quilting is being exposed. Ooh, I can even feel it. That's cool. Alright, so I really want to try to keep as much of this as possible. This is kind of secondary, but it does go fairly deep here at this point, and not so deep here. So I think I'm going to make this the bottom of whatever the heck it is I'm going to turn here. And then this the top. So let's see what happens. When we come around that corner. So there will still be a little bit there. Oh, man. Oh, I don't know if I'll get away with this piece. I could make this a twice turned piece, but I don't know with these piths if they would survive the process. Be an experiment anyway. I don't know how well they'd survive the process. This is maple, but it's kind of softish. So it's not hard maple, I would say. What else can I do with this guy? I could turn it into, I could turn it sideways, and that could be, but then I lose figure here. So I think the orientation I got it in is probably the best orientation to capture as much figure as possible. A little more spherical shape there. That is the question. Do I take that down or not? I could have a nice void there. I could have a very nice void right there in the shoulder, and that would be a cool thing. It would not be bad. So I may lose some of that. Well, I may be breaking out the hollowing system, perhaps. Let's see. This might help. Okay. Tell me basically what depth I'm going to get to if I hollow with my spindle gouge. Thinking, do I turn this into a spherical piece? I don't know. It's kind of on the fly, so. That was what they call a catch, like a wing catch that edge there. Okay, so basically the figure runs to somewhere in here anyway. So to have it kind of wrap around the piece, I'll have to bring the bottom further up this way, which is getting me right into the realm of a spherical piece. Huh. Or maybe just a more spherical piece, like not so truncated on the bottom. I think that is probably. I think that's probably the direction I'm going to go with this guy. Oh, yeah, you want to be cut this way. See what that looks like. Oh, wow. Yeah, that really makes that grain pop out really nicely. Not so much figure on this side. It's all right here. Really lots kind of like flame action happening there. So, not really a lot from this piece up here, but I think I'm zeroing in on a shape that I'm going to go with. And that will give me, probably will give me a bit of a void here, which is okay. Going backward, not really backwards to the grain. I'm sort of kind of I'm getting a much better cut heading this way. It's still spindle orientation, but this is higher than this is. So, again, sharp tools and moving only as fast as the tool can cut, kind of get away with it. So, okay. In this instance, my hip is doing all the work. I'm not pushing with either hand. I'm only moving my body around and keeping everything, like I'm not pushing, I'm just keeping it stable. So as I come around this corner, and carry that cut all the way through. And it's the whole body. Okay, let's see. So all the way out here. Oh, will this be a reverse one, maybe? You know what? I think it will. What am I going to do? Let's see. So this would be my base, which means I want this. I don't want this. Thinkity think. Yeah, I think this will be the top. There's some cool things down here in the bottom, but most of the actual figure is up here. It changes things a little bit. All right. Decisions. So yeah, it'll just be the reverse of most of those pots. Usually this is the base and the wider part is at the top. So we'll just flip that over on its side. Alright, so do I want the code here? Yeah, that might look kind of nice. Got spindle gauge here. So this is the main pith of the tree, I believe. So it's definitely going somewhere into the bottom of the piece. Or the top of the piece in this case, so maybe this is a really good choice. Maybe something like that. Or maybe I just have the rim. And then hopefully I can just leave this as a natural edge. I don't have to hollow it that thin. But am I happy with the shape now? You know, skin, yeah, just about. Just about there. kind of stuck. Because on the one hand, it would be really cool just to have just that. You know what? That's what I want to do. That's what I'm going to do. We're just going to have just this. Let's get this guy ready for that. Good square shoulder here. And I'll have to adjust this a little bit more, which means this will get a little bit lower, but that's okay. Thinking I may want, I don't know if I'm going to wind up with I think I might wind up with round bottom, and then I'll just have to turn a stand for it, which is okay with me. Alright, so that's good for the chuck. And actually, if I can do this. Can I reach it? For a little ways. Alright, we'll go with this guy then. So yeah, I'm in general happy with the shape. Alright, my last chance to decide on the rim. I'm going to say no. Okay. So this is the part where normally I would let this sit for a couple hours so that the outside was dry enough to sand. not doing that this time. So I guess I'm going to do a little bit more shear scraping. And I did say this is going to be a round bottom piece. Okay, so I think I will probably have it open at least this far to get rid of that pith. Possibly that far. Maybe that far. And then that pith comes out at an angle here because again the tree was grown that way. I cut it to go this way, so that comes right out the bottom, which is okay. And I don't think it'll pose a big issue. So we are ready to do some more shear scraping. How you doing, buddy? Still good to go. Don't need this anymore. Go with a sharp tool. That one is chewed through some bark and other things, so it's time to switch. Let's see where I could improve a little bit right in there. Get the best possible finish I can off the tool since I'm not gonna wait to sand it. We're looking at 9 o'clock, yeah. Actually, come to think, I don't have to go all the way around the corner since there's going to be a hole there. That's looking a lot better. So as you can see, I'm taking just really time, just taking the high points off. There's not much to the shavings. They're just, if they weren't wet, they'd be what we call the angel hair. If they weren't wet, they wouldn't bunch up like they are now. When they're little wads. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of maintain like a natural edge kind of thing there. It's not gonna be a void. I don't think that's what's gonna happen with this guy. Okay. Time to get rid of the tenons. Loosen that back up. Yeah, didn't cut all the way through either one of them, so come back to it. Right over there. Boy. All right. Running true. Bummer. I'm leaving dust marks on it. I think this is probably not going to work well, but let's try. Yeah, it just loads up the paper. All right. So I'll have to send it after the fact. Which is going to kind of defeat the purpose here. Yeah, because all this is going to pucker. You know what? I am going to set this one to dry. I really want to be able to finish that outside. And I'm just leaving wet, muddy marks from the timber. On here, it's too wet to sand yet. So let's see. Let's get this ready to hollow out, and then I'll move on to something else because I really want to not have to come back and this drying and all this puckering happen and then try to sand that. I want to sand it before all that puckering happens. But I do have quite a bit of pretty nice figure caught in there, and it goes at an angle, so it looks really, really cool. So I'm able to capture that, and that's nice. And I still have the option, actually, if I, well, not so much anymore. But, you know, I could always turn it back, but I want this to be the top. What am I hitting? Yeah, I think my handle hit the feel like my handle hit something. There's nothing back here to hit. That's kind of weird. I couldn't move the handle anywhere. Okay, so that right there is the pith that comes out of the tree, basically at this angle. And that will be pretty much gone. Maybe I'll go something more like that. And I will use the hollowing system because as much as I'm tempted to get my tool that far off the tool rest, it'll be that far off the tool rest and not a lot of mass of the tool. So I'm going to stick with the heavier boring bar. We'll let this dry. Hey, but I can play around with this a little bit. So let's get rid of this guy for a couple of minutes. Don't need an elbow poker. Clear. So yeah, I think it's a nice rim for a mouth. And this piece will be maybe a little bit thicker. Maybe not. I don't know. But I think that looks good. Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll look really, really nice. Having that truncated top. It's basically egg shaped. But having that truncated top. Thank you, spam bot, for letting me know where I can purchase cheap viewers. We'll let you know it's not going to happen. All right, cool. All right, so from this point, I can let it dry. The surface to dry enough to sand, and that'll be good to go. Then it'll be good, all right, to hollow it. So, ooh, let's mark it while we're at it, so we know where we took it out of the chuck. All right, so yeah, that's a nice shape. I might take it in a little bit more. No, I think that's good. I think that'll work. I'll have to tuck this curve in a little bit down at the bottom, but that's okay. It's going to be a round bottom piece, and then I'll cut a stand for it. So I'll set that aside. Oh, in fact. And then let's look for another piece to turn. Thanks, Rudy. I can't wait to finish that guy. I think that's going to be a really nice piece of timber. Really, really nice figure in it. So thank you, sir. How did this get moved? All right. Yeah. Let's take a look at that guy. Combat Wombat has joined the channel. Howdy, Combat Wombat. Adorable Sorrow 10 has joined the channel. Hey, thanks for joining the channel, except for the spam bot stuff. Appreciate it. Hope you all are doing all right this evening. Okay, cover my computer back up. There we go. All right, let's see. Different piece of timber. Might be helpful to know. 9:30. Okay. How's about... Those are teacups. That's twice turned stuff. This might actually be ready. Hey, I'm going to play with this piece of maple burl. It might actually be dry. That's alright. Did I leave a mark for myself? Why, no, not on this piece, but it was twice turned anyway. So let's true this up. See if I can get... Oh, good, I can. So I want to true my tenon up really quick so I can put it back in the chuck. It is, well, it's close to round, but it's not quite round. This piece moved a little bit, but not a ton. Alright, we'll go with spindle gouge for this guy. Oh man, this is some dry stuff. Alright. So that's trued up, got a flat facer, so it'll sit in the chuck alright, but since I have it here, let's round this off a little bit. I think I got this thing turning really slow. Oh, I did. Okay. Mighty punky stuff. Maybe I won't turn this piece today. I'll still round off a little bit. Maybe I'll leave a rim, something like that. Oh, but that's still got to come off. Let's see. Still a little bit there. Oh, just a wee bit still there. There it is. Okay, now that's gone. Yeah, I gotta think about this one. Let's get one of these tools. How about that one? So this is one of those burls. It's got fungus growing in it. I've already turned the piece once, so it's got a rough shape. So this stuff isn't. At least I'm not expecting it to fly apart. But the thing is that it's dried dead fungus and it's white. Um, and I think I need to spend some time cleaning this up. Ooh, I might be able to do that with my new bristle brushes, though. Maybe not that good. And maybe not that good. Okay, so it kind of cleans out all right, but I'm gonna have definitely gonna have some voids here. Um, I do want to get rid of all this white fungus because it's going to be a weird color when the piece is finished. So yeah, my new bristle brushes won't quite get some of this stuff. But it does appear to be that wherever it's rotten, the bark just comes right out too. Which is helpful. Yeah, I think it's going to take a little while picking. So I will do that off camera. So we know it's true. Let me find, there we go. Mark it where it was in the chuck there. That will be an interesting piece of wood when it's all done. Yeah, there's a lot to clean out, actually. All right, well, still, this would be neat. This could be a really cool. This is on the border of, or this is right at that point where maybe, using a really thin epoxy or even cactus juice. I just don't like the way cactus juice turns. It just turns into dust. But that might be a thing here. All right, let's set that aside. And who knows, I might be able to use some really thin CA glue, or not CA. Find a really thin CA glue that I can just make a form for and then pour that in there. So this piece looks like it's a little bit more together and not a lot. Actually, I'm not seeing, well, maybe a little bit of fungus there and there. So move on to this guy. This would be a nice another twice turned piece. See how well that moves more than the other one. I think actually I should make that tenon a little bit smaller. Well, I can always turn it around again. All right, I'll just switch jaws instead. Yeah, this is definitely harder bit of the burl. So yeah. All right, so I'll swap jaws to grab this dude, and then, well, actually, let me see about. Let's see, that's the wrong side. Let's mark this guy. And let's get some measurements on this dude. All right, so you are 3 inches deep. So that gives me quite a bit there. An inch in thickness all the way around. So I've got plenty of room to play with. Am I turning this into a handled bowl or a lidded box? Hey. Oh, that work. Pity. All right. Maybe that would. Maybe that's why I cut this one. Oh no, this is way punky. All right. Yeah, I won't be turning this one either. This is way gone, way punky. In my earlier part of my turning journey, I wouldn't have turned that down, but it's a lot of work. Let's see what else we got here. Ooh, that's not so punky, and that could work as a lid. You know, we'll make this like a lidded kind of pot with a rim, maybe handles carved into it. Yeah, that'll work. All right, so let's go ahead and set. Where's my marks? There. Set the outside. We'll get the outside turned. And then we'll flip this dude around and do the inside. Yeah, I think, yeah. I think this will be pretty groovy. I think they're all will eventually wind up being pretty groovy, I guess. Alright, back to the bowl gouge. And for this dude, especially since I'm in a expansion hold, we're bringing up a tailstock. Just a little added security there. A lot of figure in this guy. Holy smokes. That is awesome. Ruh-roh, that's my sign to put the mask on. Let's do that now. So what I'm talking about is, let's get this guy as a pointer. This stuff right in here, this lighter colored stuff, that right there, that's bug dust. Bug poo, bug leavings, whatever you want to call it. So I don't want to breathe that in. So while I'm turning and sanding this piece, I guess I'm wearing a mask. All right, so what kind of shape do I want? I think we'll give it kind of a little bit of a bulbous shape in the bottom. That was weird. My computer just blinked out. Need a more gradual. More gradual slope to that. Still using a bowl gouge. I'm gonna go with the bowl gouge. Looks pretty good. Oh, very nice. So we're gonna sand this dude now. Not quite sure what I'm doing with the rim yet, but I'm gonna save that for when it's in the the chuck down here. Man, figuring that just is crazy. It's a nice piece of burl here. Okay, sander and this guy. So I'm not trying to shape the piece with the abrasive. That is the job of the tools. And I don't want to have to what do I want to say? Beat the hell out of things just to get this done. It's like everything else in the wood turning. I mean, it's a mess. You can do whatever you want to do on the lathe, man. But I'm not using a heavy touch, is the point. Letting the abrasive do the work, at least trying. Okay, that is a very nice surface. Let's see, maybe, I don't know if this is curl or oh yeah, okay, so it was curl. Sometimes I get a little confused with if it's grain stuff like this, because sometimes I can't tell, is that actually a mark in the wood or is that figure in the wood? And sometimes, well, I try not to over sand, but sometimes I will wind up sanding a piece several times in an area because, man, that's until I figure out, okay, the mark is not going away, so it is clearly not a surface issue. It's part of the grain. All right, how we doing here? So I had a little bit, I still do, dang it, a little bit of a mark right there. I'm gonna try going the other direction with it. Maybe the grain wants to be sanded in the other direction. Let's see. It was right there, and that's still it. I honestly cannot tell. I think it's figure, but I'm not like totally positive. So we're gonna go with a fresh piece of abrasive. We'll hit it again and move on. Like it's almost like a washed out, kind of ghostly looking kind of bit, where it's not as, clear as the rest. So it's just this one little spot. That things get a little funny right in this area here. See, there's another, just a really minor one right there. And then, okay, so the one that's almost gone. Okay, so I should be able to get rid of it then. If I don't get rid of it and sand it down, then any finish on that will just magnify that kind of muddy-ish appearance in like one area where it looks like, okay, that, not quite punky, but you get that kind of sheen with punkiness too. Hey, Abaddis, how's it going, man? How's the weather up your way? I'm gonna hit this one more time. That's odd. For some reason, my speech chat is doing weird things. It's breaking up really bad. Currently nursing a man cold. Weather is good. Nice. A bit smoky late. Yeah. Yeah, I've been watching that around here too. Currently nursing a man cold. Oh, that's a bummer, man. I hope it goes away soon. Alright, so that is a really nice surface. I'm happy with this now. So I can swap jaws and start working on the upper part and the inside and hollowing that out. So why don't we move some things out of the way, Dave? Hey, what a great idea. Okay, don't need the parting tool, so that can go back in there. We'll need that eventually. I know I marked it, but let's check. Yep. But I shouldn't be coming back to this anyway. Oh, I can move that out. So yeah, so that's a nice room to pick up this. It's almost a almost a cauldron shape, but that's okay with me. Yeah, gonna be lots of figure in this dude. All right, let's get to changing jaws, and I guess since I'm not doing any turning with this right now, I can take off the mask for a little bit. junk drawer. There we go. Well, there's 3 out of 4. That wouldn't be bad if I didn't need all 4. One, two, three, I guess. So we're starting with number 1. I don't know if I'll ever have tons of chucks in the shop or whatever, but you know, I have to say it is really nice having a chuck, you know, a certain size maybe that you use often that has, or you have several of them all with different jaws, so it's don't have to swap them out as often. I guess it would be more of a convenience than anything. But at least now this isn't right. I guess they got some newfangled chucks now that the jaws just slide in and lock down, and then you can change jaws that way. It's some kind of quick change system, but I think those jaws are plastic. I don't know. Maybe they're not. They just look really strange. It could just be the coloring of it, but you know, that would be really freaking handy. A really nice idea. But at least, like with this Vicmark chuck, it's not, you know, terribly time consuming to swap jaws out. And I guess I'll just set that there in case I've got to go back to those jaws at any point during this thing. There you. Oh, don't tell me I'm going to be between sizes. That'll be a bummer. Yeah, it would appear that. I'm in between sizes and I'm going right back to those other jaws. What a bummer. Alright, so I'll have to adjust the tendonite a little bit more probably. Because I'm not sure that those other jaws will open wide enough for that. But these jaws definitely cannot constrict down enough to meet that tenon, so Whoopsie daisy. Good thing that wasn't over the shavings. I have spare screws like these for that very reason, but hey man, if I can hold on to it, that would be my preferred way of handling it. Let's not lose them all in the shavings. This guy now moves over there. Now let's just see if this goes wide enough. I don't believe it does. I think that's close to about it right there. Yep. Okay. Where's my mark? There it is. All right. Hey, now. Chuck is trying to come off the headstock there. I'm going to keep rotating it until it runs a little truer. See if that will help it. That's a little bit better. Yeah, there we go. I'll take that. All right, let's see. The tailstock back all the way back. need that light. All right, so I think, let's see, what do I think? I don't know. Let's take pass here. Oh, that's pretty. Trying to figure out. You know what? No, I think I will take this down. And is that going to be the top of my, or is that going to be, the lid's going to be inset a little bit. Then I will need, let's see here. I think I should follow that curve. Right about there. Okay, how do I want the rim to sit? I want the rim to sit right on top of that, I think. No, I think I want... I need my sidewall scraper here. that over. Through which means I will actually need to be deeper. Will that do? Yeah, it will. Let me go a little bit deeper with that. Square shoulder there. Let's chamfer this edge a little bit. Now we can start hollowing. Alright, so this is my last chance to figure out, like, is this going to be my final thickness here? Which my answer is apparently no. Alright, so I'll slow this down. I can finish sanding that part. And that'll be a done deal. And then I can go to hollowing. What are we doing on time? 10:20, not bad. Alright. I'm just holding on to this with my fingertips. It's a really, really light touch. I just need to touch up. Instead, I'm not trying to shape it with the sandpaper. That looks nice. Okay, since I'm cutting into bug dust again, I'll leave the mask on. Okay. Very nice. All right. And now I'm going to go with my scraper here. Let me dress this up really quick. And I think I'll just leave that running for now. Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to go back there. Oh, and it'd probably be helpful if I had some air, so I'll turn that on too. Redress the burr. Let's compressor there. Okay, so that's an even wall thickness. 3 inches. We'll go a little bit deeper in the bottom. Okay, now I'm just adjusting the wall thickness, I think. I went in at 1/16 of an inch. That's funny. I think I want it to be just a skosh thinner. Something like that. That'll work. Got just a tiny bit of a hump in the bottom. Just flattening it out. At least I think I am. There we go. Alright, so that is a fairly even wall thickness. I'm happy with that. I could follow this curve a little bit better. Or can I? Oh, I know what I can do. I can just add a little bit more detail right there and leave this alone. So I'm actually going to take this step down a little bit too. Get a really nice shear straight going here. Oh, very nice. Love that nice smooth surface, man. Nice and smooth surface. That'll work. And put that guy away. Move that guy aside and go for the spindle gouge. Alright, so I want this to follow the curve, just this little bit, to follow that underside curve a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is make a little detail mark. I'm supposed to do that. Bozo. And round that over. Clean up cut there. Oh, yeah, that looks nice. Okay. I'm taking that and running with it. Sander. Okay. So now this rim follows this curve a little bit more closely, and I've got this separation ring here for where the lid sits, and it's going to sit right there. So that guy's done. We just need to turn the bottom now and see how far we get along with the lid. Or perhaps oh, you know what? I think I've left I have left the grinder running there. Okay. Get the magic key. Let's take a look at this guy. Oh yeah, that's really clean inside. That's nice. Very nice. Not super heavy and clunky. I'm liking that too. Alright, so let's double check our depth. You know, if I do this, I'll have an extra hand. Hey, check that out. Alright, let's see if these lines match up. Nope. So try again. That looks like the proper depth. Yep. Alright. So now on this guy, I've got a flat face right here, and a flat face right here. And that's where I'm going to hold it. Getting some interesting colors in there too. Alright, don't need the spindle gouge. I need the bowl gouge. And just for giggles, let's bring up the tailstock. Dave, I know I've told you several times you should be checking your tool rest. Why are you not checking your tool rest? So right now, well, I shouldn't have a flat bottom now. I don't. So I just took it down about a 16th of an inch down in there to create this um, cove in here so that when this sits on whatever surface, it's going to sit on this outer rim, which I'm going to shape right now. Let's double check that. Yes, it will sit right out on this part, which is where I want it to sit. And we are in expansion mode. We'll double check here.
Be satisfying.
Yeah, especially when it's a smooth cut. So what I'm going to do is normally I'm cutting on the bottom wing here in a bowl cut. I'm going to go slightly above that nose to get a very sheer cut. I'm cutting on the uphill side of the bowl gouge. Like that dismount carried all the way through. I thought that was nice. So I've got a really sheer, I don't have very much sanding to do here. That was a really nice cut. So David Ellsworth, although he's passed now, that was one of his signature things. He kept a hump on this wing so that when he was doing the bottoms of bowls or hollow forms or whatever, then he would use that as a shear cut. But you don't have to have the hump in there. It helps a lot, but with practice, you can get that cut right above the center of the tool and get a really, really nice shear cut. Or you can get the hump on it and do it that way, whatever works for you. Okay, let's grab the 220 again because I have a wee bit of sanding to do. And then, based on the time, I think I'm going to wrap it up. And I will turn the lid We'll try to wait till Tuesday. Let's put it that way. Blend that in a little bit. There we go. Okay, I'm going to hit this little spot again. I guess the term we're going back to on the surface of the piece, we need to see. Yeah, I want to say cloudy, so it looks a little cloudy, like right in there. It looks a little cloudy, and so I need to get the abrasive going in the correct direction for this bit right here, because this is definitely going a different direction. So it doesn't look anywhere near as cloudy as it did now, or as it did. Now it doesn't. It's getting the timber sanded in the correct direction. And since this is really figured stuff, it's like it goes all over the place. And there'll always be some little spot that you gotta do a little bit extra attention to. It's not gonna take long. It's just with the piece turning this way, just for that little bit, it's the wrong direction. Wasn't smelling anything. It just was. Nose was getting tickled all of a sudden.
Say, oh, the camera died. About is say, and everything back.
Yeah, I'm having weird glitches. I can see my computer just blinks off and then comes back, and it's really strange. So I'm wondering if I'm on some government watch list. I don't know if I should even say that, but who knows, man. Terrible, not the best internet connection where I'm at. Unfortunately, Charter has a monopoly on the area. The only other option, well, now there's, I guess Starlink is available here now, but I don't want to deal with satellite internet like that. So I guess that means I'm kind of stuck with Charter until things change. Although in this area, it looks like they're starting to lay fiber optics, which doesn't speak well for the 15-minute city folks. That means, yeah, they're really serious. But on the other hand, the internet will be, in theory, better through fiber optics. But they are definitely trying to turn this place into a 15-minute city. So just a wee bit of ghosting here. Made it worse. There we go. And then I'm going to try a little bit more of this action here just before I give up on it. Okay, I'll take that. There's just a little bit right there I'm going to take care of real fast, and this piece is pretty much done. Other than a little minor sanding on the foot. There's that bit. I know I saw you. There you are. And that bit, and that takes care of all the ghosting. Except for, of course, this spot that I just found. Okay, cool. There we are. So this piece of maple burl came out fairly nice. It was not super, so it had a lot of punk in this particular piece, but that's also why I saved it. To hopefully that would be the case. So really no punky wood on this particular piece. Just a little bitty tiny bit right down in here, but it's not bad. So I will fashion the lid next go around, if not Tuesday between now and then. And at least I'll show this off when we get to that point. So that's the lid for the box. We'll call those the handles. I'm not going to carve those. All kinds of figure going through this piece. Well, I can't wait to buff this guy. Yeah, that'll be neat. All right. Let's do a little bit of this. Click, click. And a little bit of that. Probably need to clean that off. There we go. I think that'll work. Yeah. All right. Well, if you came in a little bit late in the broadcast and you didn't catch any of that the first time here, howdy. My name is Dave. I'm a wood turner. I started turning as therapy for PTSD. Found out I had a knack for it. Fell in love
The
with it,
values say,
and
I was
then
lurking making supper.
oh, awesome, awesome. That's my next gig. I think I need to find some supper. Uh, um, but I started this channel. Well, I mean, I fell in love with it. I started teaching and fell in love with that. So I started this channel to become a better teacher and a better demonstrator and a better turner because I know the secret sauce to all this. I mean, there's no shortcuts. It's all practice. You got to practice, practice, practice. Get the proper instruction, practice the proper form until it becomes muscle memory. And, for some, that's a shorter time than others. Everybody's different. Give yourself a break and the ability or the permission to make mistakes because you're going to as a beginning turner. And even I guess I've been turning 10 years now. So I do make design changes, happy little accidents, whatever you want to call it. It does happen. It's like not anywhere near as often as it used to be. And even the guys have been doing it for decades. It happens. You lose a little focus or whatever, and there's a issue with the wood. Something happens that you have a design change. Hopefully, it's not a catastrophic one. Um, but I think that the skill of the turner in those instances lies in how do you make that part of the design then now that it's changed, how do you incorporate it, which I think is a kind of a fun journey all in itself. But give yourself the permission to make mistakes because you're going to. As you learn this stuff, it's not, it's like everything else. You have to practice, you have to get the form right, to get the results you want. You have to do the things. You've got to practice. You got to get the instruction. You got to learn how to sharpen your tools. You got to have repeatable grinds, so you're working from the same baseline every time. Like I say it a lot. There's a lot of little pieces to the puzzle, so you're not going to pick everything up the first go round. The first time you take a class or get instructed, you're not going to pick everything up. It's a journey. It takes time, and I want to, or at least I hope that um, at least some content in this broadcast inspires somebody to turn or to start turning. It's been great therapy for me. It gives a unique focus to the now. You got to be here, right now. Got a piece like this rotating at 60 miles an hour or so. I guess that would be what 180 kilometers an hour. No, not quite that much. Let's see, 60 miles. Yeah, almost 180 kilometers an hour, isn't it? Because 120 is 50. So yeah, about 180 kilometers an hour. If I have that right, my Canadian friend back there might have a better idea. It's been a while since I've driven um, under those circumstances. I have stationed in Germany, stationed in Okinawa, Korea, and they use that metric system, which I wish we did too. We could just make everything
The
one
values
one
say,
thing.
60 miles per hour is about 100 kph.
Okay, so I was off a little bit. All right, well, so 100 kilometers an hour, give or take, is about 60 miles an hour, something like that. I'm pretty sure I thought it was 120 was 50, but that's okay. I don't live it every day. I live the American system every day, unfortunately. And it's always a treat to work on a piece of equipment that has both standard, or rather, metric and what do they call it? It's not standard, um, imperial.
The values
Nuts
say,
and bolts
I
and
have the
screws and
benefit of
all that
working what needs to
crap.
be done here in your car every day.
Yeah. Well, we have that too, but on in our cars, it's the decimal system is in the large numbers and the kilometers per hour in the tiny numbers. When I had a car in Okinawa, it was the other way around. The miles per hour in the tiny numbers, and then the kilometers per hour in the larger numbers, which makes sense because that's the laws you're driving under. You should have have those things in place where they're obvious. so that people can follow the rules or the law or whatever. So yeah, yeah. But thank you, yeah. But I appreciate that. I was off by a factor of two, apparently. I guess that would be what not a factor of two, factor of one, because one plus would be half, right? So a factor of one. Anyway, I wanted to thank you again for supporting this channel and coming along on my journey as I'm muddling through this and you know I'm learning new stuff all the time, or I'm trying to, and then I try to incorporate it and play with groovy stuff like this. It's a heck of an undertaking to create a piece like this, like right in front of your own face. You can see it happen.
That
You
is,
can make
say,
these
when
things and
time
just see it
travel
happen right
88
there.
miles per hour sounds better than 141
Yeah.
kilometers per hour.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I suppose so. Since it was an American movie, I suppose it would. Uh, Double eights. Yeah, I I don't understand that one either. What the magic number 88 was all about, but whatever. I guess the Mister Fusion had to get warmed up, and he needed a running start. Anyway, cool series of movies for the most part. Yeah. So thank you again for your support. Even if you're lurking in the background making supper, you still have the channel running and it's still being viewed. So thank you very much. I hope you tell your friends. I hope that I've given you some inspiration to get out there and turn something, man. Enjoy the experience. Relax into it. It shouldn't be a battle. It should be fun. Turning is mostly finesse. But you got to get the practice in to be able to get the finesse thing down. So give yourself a break, man. If you, especially if you're starting out, give yourself a break. Learn how to do this stuff. Don't get too frustrated. Um, these things. I mean, it's just practice. Practice is the key. You can do these things too. Maybe not the way I do them because everybody's little perspective is different, but you can do these things too. So I hope you all stay friendly. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and I hope to see you here online next Tuesday and Wednesday, 8 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. And who knows what I'm turning next week? I don't
That
know.
is, say, have a great week.
Thanks, man. I hope you do too. And
That is, say, catch you next week.
I hope the smoke doesn't choke you out too much. Here it's made it a little difficult to breathe, but it's not as bad as it has been like a couple weeks ago. So hopefully, I don't know. We'll see what the weather patterns bring. But hopefully, you're breathing easy soon. Anyway, thanks a lot, folks. I'll see you soon. Good night.